Let's talk about something we've all felt. It's that incredibly frustrating gap between deciding to do something and then not doing it. You know, that new project you were excited about, that gym routine you swore you'd start. Why is it so hard to just follow through?
I mean, seriously, have you ever just sat there and wondered what's going on? You make a solid plan, you're motivated, you know exactly what you need to do, and yet the next day, nothing happens. It's so easy to chalk that up to being lazy or just having a lack of willpower.
But what if it's not a personal failure at all? The idea we're digging into today offers a totally different way of looking at it. It suggests that your mind operates like a courtroom, and when you fail to act, it's not because you're weak, it's because there's been a mistrial.
So let's step inside this internal courthouse, shall we? Because if we can understand how it's supposed to work, we can start to see exactly where things are going wrong.
Now, every court has its officials, the key players who make the whole thing run, and your mind is no different. To really get why you make the decisions you do, or don't, you've got to meet the cast of characters who are basically running the show inside your head.
First up, you've got the prosecutor. Think of this as your raw impulse, your desire. This is the voice that bursts in and says, "We should totally do this. It's a great idea. Let's go." It's the one that brings every new case to the court.
Arguing against that impulse, you've got the defense attorney. This is your critical mind, your voice of caution. It's the one that stands up and says, hold on a second, what are the risks? What if this goes wrong? Its job isn't to be a downer, it's to protect you from doing something reckless. And then you have the jury. Now, the jury isn't really a voice. It's more of a feeling. It's your gut. It's your core values, your past experiences, your collective wisdom. The jury just sits there, listens to both the prosecutor and the defense, and silently weighs it all against one simple question. Is this really me?
Presiding over this entire scene is the judge. This is your conscious will, your executive self. The judge makes sure the trial is fair, considers what the jury is feeling, and then, bang, it delivers the final verdict. It's the part of you that makes the official call and says, all right, decision made, we're doing this.
And last, but definitely not least, is the bailiff. The bailiff is your body, your willpower. And here is the absolute key. The bailiff doesn't think. It doesn't have an opinion. It only acts on direct orders from the judge. So you see, your willpower isn't the one making the choice. It's just the muscle that carries out the sentence.
Okay, so that's how it's all supposed to work in a perfect world. But of course, things get messy. A failure to follow through is almost always a sign that the court is dysfunctional. It's a mistrial. Let's break down the 4 most common ways that justice can fail in your mind.
First up, we have the case of the impulsive character. In this courtroom, the prosecutor is basically a tyrant. It's so loud, so passionate, so demanding that it completely bullies the defense attorney into silence. There's no real debate. A verdict is just rammed through based on pure, unchecked desire.
Now, the outcome here isn't inaction, it's actually the opposite. It's reckless action. This is the person who chases every shiny new object, who starts a new business idea every Monday, who follows through on every impulse. They're definitely taking action, but it's not wise, planned action. It's just chaos.
On the other side of the spectrum, you have the chronic procrastinator. In this court, the defense attorney is the one who's out of control. It pokes holes in every single idea the prosecutor brings forward. It floods the courtroom with a million what-ifs and worst-case scenarios until everyone is just paralyzed by fear and doubt.
The desire, the initial idea, it's there, but it gets smothered by fear before it even has a chance to grow. The source material for this has a line that just nails it. Conception is aborted by fear.
The result? Total paralysis. This is the classic paralysis by analysis. The person who has amazing ideas but can never seem to start. All that initial energy and excitement just withers and dies in a courtroom that's been completely sanitized by doubt.
Okay, our third case is a little sneakier. This is the self-saboteur. Here, the prosecutor and defense might actually have a pretty balanced argument. The real problem is a corrupt jury. It's a jury that's operating on hidden, deep-seated beliefs like, I'm not the kind of person who succeeds, or I don't really deserve this.
So it doesn't matter how great the prosecutor's case is for, say, asking for a promotion. That corrupt jury will always come back with a verdict that keeps you safe and small. This is the person who always seems to undermine their own goals, who quits right when things are about to get good.
And our final case of mistrial is a lack of executive function. In this scenario, everything goes perfectly at first. The prosecutor makes a great case, the defense raises valid points, the jury comes back with a clear and enthusiastic verdict, let's do it. And then, crickets. Because the judge is too weak or too distracted to bring down the gavel and make the verdict official. This person lives in the intention-action gap. They aren't paralyzed by fear, they don't think they're unworthy, they know exactly what to do and why they should do it. But that final command from the judge never comes. So the bailiff, or willpower, never gets its orders. The verdict is perfect, but it just stays a philosophical idea.
Okay, wow, seeing these dysfunctional courts laid out like this is pretty eye-opening, right? You can probably see yourself in one or more of them. So that brings up the big question. What's the alternative? What does a healthy, functional courtroom actually look like?
Well, the goal isn't to get rid of any of the players. The goal is to get them all working together to cultivate what you could call an integrated, healthy court. This is how you get to a just verdict that your whole self can truly get behind.
In a healthy court, the prosecutor is passionate, but it listens. The defense is careful, but it's not trying to kill every idea. The jury is in touch with your real values. The judge is firm and clear, and the bailiff is ready to act. But you know what the key ingredient is that allows all this to happen? Patience. Just giving the court enough time for a proper, thoughtful trial.
And this all leads us to the single most powerful takeaway from this whole idea. If you struggle to act, you're not lazy, you're not broken. You are simply the judge presiding over a dysfunctional court. Your problem isn't a flaw in your character, it's a breakdown in your internal system. And that one thought can change everything, because it puts the power right back in your hands. As the judge, you have the authority to bring order to the court. You can learn to manage the arguments, to really listen to your jury, and to deliver your verdicts with clarity and conviction. The court is now in session. The only real question left is, what kind of judge are you going to be?